When is the use of force by police, when is that justified? What are the actual guidelines for the use of deadly force? And I think that's certainly a discussion that we can have. And, you know, we have the people right here who can do that, right?
Yeah.
Dennis Root's here.
Dennis Root, and for those viewers who may recognize him, he was the use of force expert in the George Zimmerman case. So, Mr. Root, thank you so much for joining us. And this is a question, because we know that officers every day in the line of duty are killed, they're assaulted, and they're fearful. So when is it okay to engage? When is it okay to use force?
You know, that's probably one of the most complex questions anybody can ask. And the easiest and most concise answer is it's really dependent on what they're encountering. Every agency throughout the United States uses a use of force continuum to help educate officers academically about making a force decision. So they basically take offered resistance or things that another individual may do, and they try to reference it to potential responses, things that would, by the standards of the court, would be objectively reasonable given the type of resistance that they're encountering.
And when you say, Dennis, when you say objectively reasonable, I think, and we have a couple of clips from different instances, and I think this is what concerns the public. When you see an instance like Tamir Rice, when the police pull up, and he's that 12-year-old, unfortunately, in Cleveland, you know, and he was shot dead within
2 seconds.
Within 2 seconds of the police arriving. And so, Dennis, when you address this continuum, and hopefully we'll get to see that clip, you know, how is it justified where an officer pulls up and then right away, and there we see it, Sonia, you see it right there. That's the clip. Apparently, Dennis, there were calls of a person with could be a toy gun. That wasn't conveyed to the police. But as soon as the police arrive on scene, Dennis Root, apparently the gun is pulled out and Tamir Rice is dead. So could you address the use of force continuum as it relates to this instance?
Because this is use of deadly force within 2 seconds.
Right. And, you know, when we look at timelines, 2 seconds can be an eternity. It depends on which side of the gun that you're on. They knew they were responding to an armed individual, whether it was a juvenile, an adult, what have you, and then they're faced with a potential deadly force threat. They can't spend a lot of time evaluating it if it's produced, and everyone that sees a uniformed police officer knows that they're carrying deadly force on their hip, so that is always going to be an available option for law enforcement. So an individual that they encounter who actually produces what the officer perceives as a deadly force threat, he cannot wait an extremely long period of time before he responds to it. Otherwise, he may be subjected to the deadly force, and he may not be going home, or she may not be going home.